Live player. The JLP live player. What's up, guys? It is Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022 AD. Ash Wednesday. And this is so-called Women's History Month. And sleazy Joe Biden gave a State of the Union address. We're going to cover that. A little bit of it, anyway. Did you know that just about to be former Justice, so-called Supreme Court Justice Breyer was such a girl? I didn't know he had such effeminate mannerisms. He was just acting so ridiculous, in my opinion. And the Texas primary, I'll talk a little bit about that. Vox.com, the far left enemies of America, Vox.com, say that the far left and the far right won in Texas, showing how divided that state is. The far right, the conservatives, I don't know if you would call that a win. Greg Abbott winning by a landslide in his primary against Allen West and Don Huffines. I don't know about that. But I have some other things to cover as well. The Ukraine mess a little bit, vax mandates, virus hype, your calls, you can call in. And some of you already on hold, hang tight, guys. The January 6th persecution. Hopefully I'll get to this transgender agenda in Texas, by the way. Oh, man. And some other things. Irresponsible mothers and a Women's History Month video. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. You know, I was remiss in reading super chats at the end of last show. So let me jump right on to those right now for you guys because it was quite interesting. Wow. Yeah, so many. John WX25 stated on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report, why did God create Dawning Armor, Tony, Earl, Jason, and the Black Israelites? And those are references to callers of mine and former callers. To prove he has a sense of humor, says John WX15. If you didn't catch yesterday's show, I talked about atheism and these people questioning God to a couple of callers there, including Christopher, also known as Dawning Armor. A caller over here. Dylan Volk gave quite a few super chats there on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. Did you see our favorite Jay leftist was on Joe Rogan? He mentioned this when in his phone call. He gave us a phone call, Dylon, my former de facto producer. And he stated, Ben Burgess is a former guest of mine, by the way. And speaking of old friends, yes, I did. I haven't watched it. Speaking of old friends, Dylon states, what happened to responding to me via old-fashioned cellular telephone device? I know. I am remiss in getting back with him. Dylon. Your girlfriend states, when atheists like Mr. Armour mention moral compass, quote unquote, they often include things like abortion and sex with random people, same sex or opposite, and drug use of any kind under the premise that it doesn't hurt anybody else. Yeah, very true. That's partly why I asked Dawning Armor. He doesn't generally support abortion as much as your typical atheist or your typical leftist, which he might have voted for Hillary, but I think I don't know. But yeah, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. Yep, because they don't have real morals or morality. Your girlfriend states, atheists often fail to see the bigger picture and use predictions along with emotions to assume the best outcome for others. Yeah, very true. Very, very true. I think that's why they're so quick to believe the climate hype mess, and even the evolution stuff. I don't really have a dog in the fight on either of those issues, except the lies that they use, the way that they jump to conclusions about it, and the lies. Yep. Jib Jab states, as much as I don't care for Dawning Armor's calls, these are references to my caller yesterday. You shining a light on everything he's saying is enlightening, and I'm learning a lot from it, which makes me appreciate his calls even more so. LOL. Well, thank you, Jib Jab. I appreciate that. And by the way, Dylon Volk stated, I don't know if you already addressed it, but what do you think of Stu Peters criticizing MTG in his speech? Hard for me not to think it was based. And what were your thoughts on MTG pretending she didn't know Nick Fuentes to the press? That was the content of his call on my show late yesterday. Dylon called into my show. What an honor. And I don't know if she was pretending or not. I think it was a legitimate statement. She may not know what he's really about, all that he's about. But she went to the event. She was invited, probably by Milo, is what I gather. Milo Yiannopoulos, the so-called ex-gay, now Catholic guy, former Breitbart writer. I guess Ega was in touch with Marjorie Greene, who attended AFPAC, America First Political Action Conference. And right on to her for that. And right on to her for not disavowing, but for standing for the most marginalized and canceled of Americans. The true American young men and some young ladies. Right on. Nice flag, Hake says double edge. I appreciate it. I'm showing the rebel flag, the Confederate flag. Oh, good. I was hoping to hear. You can call in 888-775-3773. I was hoping to hear from Bobby in Texas. Nice. He is on the line and others on the line, guys. You can call in. Another super chat from Dan East states, taking care of business asks, what is the name of the guy that was from South Africa? White guy with the beard you had on a few times before talking about what was going on. Talking about what was going on there. That was Buffalo Bartlett. Buffalo Bartlett. I'm blanking on his real first name, but he went by Buffalo Bartlett. Buffalo Bartlett. And, okay. All I see is a parody mocking him. A parody Twitter account mocking him. Excuse me. Accusing him of grifting. Grifting is a buzzword by people who are the evil people. And that account hasn't really tweeted. But he seemed like a decent guy. I don't know what's happened with him. I do not know what's happened with him. Jesse Lee has talked to other Boers. B-O-E-R-S. Is that how you pronounce it? Boers? I used to call them Boers. Those are the native South Africans. But, yeah, it's rough. You can check out Jesse Lee Peterson's South Africa. I think he interviewed him as well. But Jesse Lee Peterson's, I think there's a South Africa playlist. And he's interviewed quite a number. One American who was living over there a couple of times. And some Boers or Afrikaners, as I think that they are sometimes called. Wow. So, guys, it's Wednesday. Men's Forum tomorrow. Bond Archive Sunday service, 4 p.m. today. The Texas primary was yesterday, apparently. And the far left, according to Vox.com, they call them the most progressive. and most conservative, supposedly, candidates won. I doubt that. I do believe that the extremist anti-Americans in Texas did win some in their primary, the Democrats. But as far as conservatives, I don't know. Because the governor primary for Republican, it was Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott beat out, what's his name? Colonel Allen West. I called him a pretty solid carpetbagger. I called him a carpetbagger because he was not originally from Texas. I don't mean to be dismissive of the guy. I like him. I respect him. But he's originally from some southern state, I want to say, and then he moved to Florida. He was a congressman from Florida. Very nice. And then the Republicans did not stand with him. He moved to Texas and became the chairman pretty recently of the state Republican Party. But I think he resigned in order to run for governor, which I don't know if it was wise to resign, because now who's going to run the Republican Party of Texas? Maybe a Texan. Hopefully somebody great. But there's a whole lot of rhinos in the establishment of Texas. I'm talking about even Ted Cruz. Yeah, are you surprised I called Ted Cruz a rhino? I've called him many times that. But some people don't think that he's a rhino. But I think he's kind of a phony politician type because he's trained maybe perhaps as a lawyer. And a lot of lawyers are no longer themselves. And his father was a pretty solid conservative, or is, I think, Rafael Cruz. Pretty solid conservative preacher guy from Cuba. Former communist. Watch out for those former communists, though, right? Sometimes they still got baggage in their views. I don't know. But Rafael has seemed like a solid guy. He was born in Canada, though. Canada? Ted Cruz. And he's been such a softie. And then Greg Abbott, the wheelchair-bound, a tree fell on him, a freak accident, decades perhaps ago. But Greg Abbott, according to what I read in Hake News, he was, according to Don Huffines, Greg Abbott was opposed to the border wall, was silent on sex change surgeries for kids, allowed CRT, critical race theory, that's that anti-white, stupid false racism propaganda pushed in classrooms and at agencies, Texas agencies, government agencies. Shaking my head. And he even refused to stop the vax mandates. So that's Don Huffines, who was also running for governor. And he said that now, and Vox said that Abbott moved even more sharply to the right last year. So we'll see what happens with him. But he's apparently running against Beto O'Rourke. Some people say his real name is Robert Francis, but he has some Mexican blood in him. And apparently it's politically expedient to give yourself a name like Barack Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and give yourself an ethnic-sounding name to make yourself more appealing to the so-called American electorate. Barack Obama, from what I understand, did he not used to go by Barry Soetoro? Barry Soetoro. I could be mistaken, but that's what people call him. And Sandy Cortez is what she might have gone by in college. I don't know. Isn't that interesting? Well, here's a flashback from September of 2019 on Beto O'Rourke. Heck yes! But he didn't say heck. We're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. This is from Eyewitness ABC 7 New York from September of 2019 when this sleazy guy was running for, not governor, he was running for president. I think he ran for governor once already. Oh, no, he ran to unseat Ted Cruz. He tried to run for Senate. He was a failed senator. He was a former congressman. In a passionate answer on gun violence, Beto O'Rourke says, do you have this clip? I think it's clip 11. Hopefully I have it. Beto O'Rourke says, when we see that being used on children, heck yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. And then you change your name to be an un-American name. And you be a Democrat, which is un-American. Please. Here is, let's see, clip 15. Beto O'Rourke. It's about 2 minutes long. Bear with me through it. Just a little reminder of who is trying to unseat Greg Abbott. Oh, pray for Texas. Listen to this.
El Paso is your hometown. Some on this stage have suggested a voluntary buyback for guns in this country. You've gone further. You said, quote, Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell them to the government, all of them. You know the critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am, if it's a weapon that was designed to kill people on a battlefield. If the high-impact, high-velocity round, when it hits your body, shreds everything inside of your body because it was designed to do that so that you would bleed to death on a battlefield and not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15, and that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Congressman, thank you.
And I want to say this. I'm listening to the people of this country. The day after I proposed doing that, I went to a gun show in Conway, Arkansas, to meet with those who are selling AR-15s and AK-47s and those who are buying those weapons. And you might be surprised, there was some common ground there. Folks who said, I would willingly give that up, cut it to pieces. I don't need this weapon to hunt, to defend myself. It is a weapon of war. So let's do the right thing, but let's bring everyone in America into the conversation. Republicans, Democrats, gun owners, and non-gun owners alike.
Can I make a point? Congressman, thank you.
What a sleazy person, huh? That's Beto O'Rourke. Evil. Evil, phony guy. Couple of super chats here regarding this Texas situation. AZZMADOR states on Odyssey, Ted Cruz is horrible. John Cornyn makes him look great by comparison. Huh. Abbott states, AZZMADOR with another super chat, locked Texas down so bad that he had state troopers pulling over cars coming out of state and making people stay quarantined in hotels for 10 days before they could go on their way. Wow. Talk about mama, which is evil. Shout out to, who said that? Lisa over there in Facebook said, that's the first time I've heard mama being used as in a negative light. Wow. You must, I encourage you to listen to more to JLP. Luke says, let's see Beto do a kickflip. That's right. He used to be like this skater guy. What a mess. Let me get to Bobby in Texas. He's on the line. Bobby, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. James, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
So I want to talk about the Texas election, but real quick, I wanted to ask just a quick question about AFPAC.
AFPAC.
You saw the Marjorie Taylor Greene speech, right? You were there?
Yep.
So I read an article this morning claiming that there was a chant of Putin that broke out. Putin.
Yeah, they chanted that, I think, after Nick Fuentes said, how about Russia? Can we get a round of applause for Russia?
Interesting. I don't get the benefit of that myself, but okay.
It was kind of tongue in cheek, but he does not appreciate the American anti-American establishment that is falling all over themselves, condemning Russia and propping up Ukraine. And so I know that that's part of it. He wants.
I don't believe any of that either. I think it's a bunch of smoke and mirrors to try and just lie to the people about what's happening over there. But
so you didn't find that. So you didn't find that amusing at all, huh?
I think it's counterproductive to the movement.
How is it counterproductive to have fun and make jokes?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a joke. I don't know. It's not being sold in the media, as a joke, So I feel like it damages.
Why would we care what the media says?
Well, you want to win. You want to win the elections and things in the future. You want to bring people to your side.
Do you think the normal people care about Putin? About a Putin chant?
I think dumb people do. Yeah, I think people that are not informed, like they see pro-Russia and they think, boomers, especially people in that, like the older people, I think they were brought up to really despise Russia. So I mean, just doesn't seem like a good idea.
I don't know. I think you're playing mama to the boomers and to the dumb people.
No, I mean, look, we just had Abbott win the election, and I'm pretty sure that's a lot of boomer voting going on that made something like that even happen.
I know, but that's irrelevant to whether a Putin chant that is covered by the mainstream media at the America First Political Action Conference is going to turn boomers away.
I just noticed Marjorie Taylor Greene takes a lot of heat. Like, she takes a lot of the heat for the Republican Party. Like, she's the only one really that's out there standing up, like her last night, like taking the lead for the Conservative Party, booing Biden, chanting "Build the Wall," like heckling him throughout his speech. Like, she's one of the only ones that was doing anything. The rest are kind of like, "Yay, Biden's talking. This is great."
Lauren Boebert also was speaking out. So you think that the America First people should censor themselves for the sake of Marjorie Greene?
I just think it's kind of counterproductive. As Trump is already like always being like tied to Putin's puppet, stupid stuff like that. When it's it's clearly that the Putin's puppet is Biden, like sitting on his hands while Biden mounts 250,000 troops on the border of Ukraine. Oh, nothing to see here. And then once it's too late, then he starts to implement sanctions and say, "Oh, this is terrible. I can't believe he did this."
I think you care too much what the media is going to say. The media is going to do whatever they want. We should do whatever we want. I don't see how it's counterproductive, man.
Really? You don't see it at all? You don't see any negative to having?
No, I think it's funny. It's cute. It breaks the spell of this melodrama, this phony melodrama about Ukraine and Putin and all that stuff. It breaks the spell. It shakes people up. If anybody's that dumb that they're falling for the mainstream melodrama.
I mean, clearly people are, and like another thing.
I know people are, but that doesn't. But that's not the Groypers' fault for chanting Putin.
This doesn't seem bad. It doesn't seem worth it. It doesn't seem like something you really should do at a.
They're young people having fun.
Yeah, I mean.
Why is it not worth it to have fun and make light of something that people are?
I think it's not just doesn't come off as a great idea to me. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, to me, it seems like it's just not.
You're making it too serious.
Well, it seems serious to me. Like, I mean, people are.
No, it's not.
Going pro-Russia.
So
why be pro-Russia?
This just shows that you're falling.
Pro-America?
This just shows that you're falling for what the mainstream media is saying, rather than seeing
I don't
the context
really care.
for yourself.
I was just curious. Like, I didn't believe it. Like, I was like, I doubt that. Sounds like some fake news. But so I wanted to ask, just based on if
it happened.
True or not?
It happened. And
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe there is no damage.
If we didn't chant Putin, would the media be on our side?
No, but I mean, they wouldn't have anything to hold over your head either.
Yes, they would, because they're still calling us white nationalists, which is their main headline.
That's fine. Like, that's going to be the way it is anyway. That's already there. But giving them fuel just seems like
it's not giving them fuel. It's just they're going to run their mouth no matter what. We should speak freely in America. And
Yeah,
I think
agree.
Nick Fuentes
that's-
really does side a little bit
it's worth it,
more
yeah.
with Russia than what you may.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't really care either way. I mean, I'm not pro-Russia. I'm not anti-Russia. I don't really care.
But you think
America
that
better.
Biden is Putin's puppet? I don't think Biden is Putin's puppet. I think that he's a globalist,
definitely.
global homo puppet.
He's right there in Putin's pocket. Like he's sitting there, like he allowed the entire
He's weak.
invasion of Ukraine.
He's weak.
I don't think it's I just think he's like that. He knew. It was obvious. Anyone in the world knew what was about to happen. Like except for our fearless leader Biden. Apparently, he's the only one that didn't know that Russia was about to invade Ukraine. Oh, nothing to see here.
No, he was
see some false flags.
He was hyping it. I mean, whatever. But
I think he's right there. I think it's a big.
But
big
Marjorie Greene,
clown show.
Marjorie Greene is gonna face heat no matter what.
Oh yeah, and she's willing to take that heat. I like her.
Yeah, I appreciate that about her. But she's not gonna be able to be effective. She's a woman politician.
I don't know. It seems like that's a lot of that's going on these days. There's too many of those. Like I noticed, I was looking through the results of our election last night and saw just so many.
We had a woman respond to the Happy Women's History Month, says Ashley over there on Facebook. We had a woman in the State of the Union response.
Yeah, I heard she did good. I didn't watch it. I was too irritated with just the initial. That's what I heard. My cousin, he watched it. He said she basically blew holes in everything Biden had said, but I didn't watch it. I was done after hearing Biden talk for an hour, however long it was. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I caught the
60%.
I caught the tail end of Biden's speech.
It was basically
talk a little
just
bit about
him stealing stuff from Trump. 60% of the stuff he was trying to take credit for was stuff that Trump had did. It sounded like basically just a repeat of Trump's, 50% of Trump's speech from his last State of the Union. It was stupid.
Interesting.
And people are just like, yay, just standing up and clapping for him. The conservatives just clapping for him. It was sick. It's hard to watch.
So who'd you end up voting for in Texas, the primary?
I went ahead and went for West. Like I liked Huffins, and I'll admit I was definitely dead wrong. Like I did a lot of research, and I went and actually met him 2 weeks ago, and he was really cool, nice guy. Like I liked him. Like I was going to vote for him in the runoff if we got that far. But I felt like I wanted to have West as well be in the top three since they were going to have three parties. So I figured I'd vote for him.
3 parties? What do you mean by that?
There would be 3 candidates in the runoff.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'll just keep him in there, keep him in the top 3. But I did like Huffins though. He was a good guy. I think he would have been much better. I was very disappointed to wake up to find Abbott had pulled such a strong victory.
Yeah, he got over like 1.2 million votes, and then those two got around 250,000, give or take. Alan West and Don Huffines. Yeah,
I was disappointed, and it looks like there's a lot of unity, I guess, in the Democrats, but Beto did only pull 900,000 votes, so
right.
If we can put the math together for the general election, it looks like we'll still be safe.
I hope so, man. I hope so. We'll see what happens. I got some super chats for you.
Sure.
From the prior conversation.
They're loving.
Yeah, AZZMADOR, a fellow native Texan, many generations, states on Odyssey, Bobby is a beta male. Bobby prefers that his politicians and spokespeople keep lying to him. Bobby is the typical concerned mama ankle biter. Fuentes, meaning Nick Fuentes of AFPAC, has built a large movement and had 3 successful political conferences. But Bobby knows better than him and all the people involved in actually doing things. 80% of Republicans and 70% of Democrats are against American intervention in Russia. But Bobby's concerned about this nonsense. So there you are.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong. I admit it. I may be wrong. I don't really care. I just feel like doesn't seem like a good way to win hearts and minds by favoring Russia. But I don't know the.
They're not trying to win. They're not trying to win
backstory.
hearts and minds. They're trying to express their free speech and their support for who they want to support, and joke around the way they want to joke around.
And
They're not
hopefully it's all
when
good.
they're
There we go.
making a chant. They're not necessarily trying to win hearts and minds. You
I don't
know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really know what their point was. They were just having fun. That was the basis
Part
of
of it,
it.
part of it was having fun, and part of it was expressing support for a country
You don't
that is
feel like people.
for a country that's
think-
being for a country that's being nationalistic. Russia is being, or under Putin, they're being nationalist. They are protecting and expanding their country in their own interests, which I think that a lot of people appreciate. Haven't you seen a lot of the pro-Putin type of memes over the years, over like the more than a decade? Because
Not
Putin,
really.
I've seen a ton of it. I've seen from right-wingers. In fact, we have a video from 7-8 years ago, probably, called Vladimir Putin. And it's on the Jesse Lee Peterson YouTube channel, The Most Interesting Man in the World. And it was put out by one of the former board operators, Andre, he's Armenian. So he's formerly Soviet. But yeah, Putin has been very interesting to Christians and conservatives in America for a long time.
I mean, I think Putin's very interesting. I think he's, very interesting guy. I think, you don't become the richest man and possibly the richest man in the world by, being an idiot, being stupid. Like, I think he's probably very smart, and I agree with Trump that he is a genius. Like, he knows how weak Biden is, and he's, doing his thing now.
Yeah.
I think he probably is a bad guy. I'm sure it's not I don't know how well his, didn't he lock up his political rival in prison for like 5 years?
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know what the real deal is on him.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really know, and I don't really care. I'm not going to Russia anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't have an opinion.
And I don't believe the hype with the Ukraine. I think that that's a lot of lies. I seriously doubt that their president is in some foxhole firing an AK at anybody.
Yeah.
I think it's all a bunch of publicity. Like, they tried to put off that the Ukrainian Miss World or whatever was fighting. Like, they debunked that. They debunked the.
So that's not true?
Kiev. No, that's not true.
Wow.
That's a lie. They debunked it. She said it was an airsoft rifle. She plays airsoft, apparently. And that was a photo from that. And then the ghost of Kiev that's been taking down Russian MiGs and tanks is a lie.
Wow.
So
I've heard that there's a lot of fake news and fake footage put out there, and I didn't even believe half of it. I thought that they were just memes mocking it. But no, I think that is real. That is real, that they are fake. And
they've been just
news
totally playing it up like it's. But I saw a video that showed people walking around Kiev buying coffee, like nobody's like running for cover. Like, it looked like basically business as usual. And the news was sitting there reporting, like, trying to make it out to be something like, something horrible happening. But then you see in the background the people are just like casually walking around in like regular street clothes. So, and like, what's the latest? Biden has put 400 assassins in Kiev to kill Zelensky and the mayor of Kiev and his brother and all these people. It's like,
you say Biden, but you mean Putin?
Yeah, Putin. Sorry, they're the same.
All right, man.
But yeah. Well, good to talk to you. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't really care.
Are you satisfied about that?
Yeah, I know the truth anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad or whatever, I don't really care. I just thought to me it seemed like a.
She's not being condemned for the people. She's been censured by the people for talking. The people, I mean, the phony politicians and media, for talking to white nationalists, because whites are not allowed to be nationalist in their own country.
That's the newest one. That was one I read this morning, and they were like she were talking about her being at white nationalist event and everyone chanting Putin, and it didn't seem like it didn't come off well. But like I said, I read a lot of news off of the.
Did you know that JLP spoke there?
Yeah, I watched his speech. It was good.
Nice.
It looked like he borrowed a shirt from Nick.
What? Borrowed a shirt from Nick?
Yeah, it had like little sparklies on the front of it.
Oh,
like
that's
palm
funny.
trees or something.
Yeah, they were palm trees. They weren't sparklies, man. But that's cute.
Oh,
yeah.
Before I go, I wanted to ask: are you guys like settled on Florida? Like, I think Texas could use you guys. Like, I think
I appreciate that.
the fight is strong for Texas. Like, it's important that we hold that line. It would be great if you guys came out here.
You know,
but I understand Florida does have nice weather.
I don't have a dog in the fight. Nothing's nicer than Southern California, and right now, I don't know. We did go around and look at places in Florida. I traveled with Chris and JLP to look at neighborhoods, and so we'll see what happens.
Don't fully commit out of Texas. Look at Texas. Give it a little look. It's a nice place. Like, I wouldn't move to Dallas or Austin, but there's some really nice places. Send
me some tips if you like. If you get a wild hair, as they say, as the Southerners say, and send me some tips on.
We're trying to get rid of property tax, so you can own your land like for real here.
We'll be carpetbaggers.
Pull it off.
We'll be
you're not Yankees. You're from California, so you're not really anything.
Okay.
In California. Yeah. And Alan West was from Georgia, so he's not either. You got to be a Yankee to be a carpetbagger.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah, I only used it just because he's from out of state.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great talking with you, Bobby.
Thanks for clearing that up, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Appreciate you too. Take care.
Bye.
Let me quickly get to AZZMADOR in Texas. Since we're on the Texas kick, AZZMADOR, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, James?
Doing well as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to talk about the whole Ukraine thing. There's apparently too many people are falling for the nonsense in the media. But first, I'd like to point out that the thinking process of the person who was just on, he said he went and voted for Alan West. But although he wouldn't vote for him in the runoff, he would vote for Huffines. So he split the vote and voted for someone he didn't want, and both candidates lost. What is that?
Interesting point. Yeah.
Anyway,
I wonder if those guys, I wonder if it had been just Don Huffines and not Alan West, and say he got like 500,000 votes, and Abbott had gotten, oh man, I don't know.
I think if you add up the votes that West and Huffines both got, Abbott would have still won.
Yeah,
I'm not upset about it because
you cut out there, AZZMADOR. Are you there? Are you there?
Election.
Oh, you just cut out. I didn't catch that whole statement.
The thing about Russia and Ukraine, I'm just going to lay my cards down face up.
Okay.
In my opinion, Russia is completely in the right here, and Ukraine is a mess. It is a government that was put in place by our CIA, and the reason that this is happening now is because the West, the U.S. and NATO, has ignored what Putin has been saying for the last 12 years, that he would not have a NATO country with nuclear missiles on his border pointing towards Moscow and other cities in Russia. And that's perfectly reasonable if you ask me, because remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? We didn't like it when the Soviet Union came over and made one of these pacts, kind of like the NATO pact, with Cuba, and started the process of shipping nuclear weapons over there. John F. Kennedy got on TV, and he threatened a nuclear war if they did that, and it shut it down. But nobody wants that. If China made some kind of a military agreement with Mexico, and it looked like they were going to be moving Chinese troops and nuclear missiles and things into Mexico, we would, if we had good leaders, we would invade Mexico and take it over before that could happen. But the other thing is, there's, it's not as simple as they say. Lieutenant Colonel McGregor, who goes on Tucker a lot. Now, in my opinion, he's the guy who should be running the military. He's a straight shooter. He doesn't care about the politics and all that. He went on Trey Gowdy's show, and he explained that, and it's obvious by what they're doing, that Putin is not interested in taking over all of Ukraine. The two countries are the two breakaway provinces that comprise the Donbass region. Are overwhelmingly populated by ethnic Russians, and they have had a civil war going on there, a bloody, horrible civil war going on there for over a decade, and they have expressed their desire to separate, and Putin recognized those countries, and he's going to take them into the Ukraine. And what he's trying to do is he only wants this small part of eastern Ukraine to be these independent countries that can join the Russian Federation, and everything west of the Dnieper River, he wants that to be neutral. And the Biden administration has signaled that if it's okay with Zelensky, then it's okay with them if he accepts this thing where...
Oh, man, he cut out again. AZZMADOR, are you there?
Having their strings pulled by the West. And the other thing is, this
AZZMADOR, your phone is going out a lot. Hello. Oh, man. AZZMADOR, are you there? I'm gonna put him on hold just to see if he can finish his point. What a mess. Let me get to a few super chats, guys, while we fix that. Lorena H says, "Hi, Hake. Which do you think is better in a marriage, when the wife has woken up or the husband?" I think it's better for the husband to have woken up. But it's okay if the wife did. Yeah, AZZMADOR, his line has kept on cutting out. We had to drop him. I mean, it dropped. It dropped. We didn't drop him. Wow. Okay, Lin Yan Shin states, "Did you get redacted name?" He wrote it. "To walk on your back so it can be compressed back into optimal alignment, minimal states of pain?" I have not yet, but thank you, Lin Yan Shin. "Pizza be with you and your wife to be if it is God's grace," states Lin Yan Shin. Bibby McRibby42 says, "What? Women's History Month? Not during James Hake's birthday celebration extravaganza." Is get bent a bad word? Just get bent, ladies. Especially her whose name starts with an A. Which one is that? Oh, I know. Bibby McRibby42. So AZZMADOR's phone dropped, unfortunately. But he was talking about Ukraine. Let me tell you a little bit about this Ukraine situation. Let's see here. Ukraine. Oh, I saw this guy who's running for Congress, or is he a congressman? He's a politician type, named Blake Masters' statement about Ukraine. And he was saying Putin is a thug. I don't know if he is or not, but he was saying that we don't have an honest media in America, in Russia, or in Ukraine. There's a dishonest media. So it was quite interesting. But I didn't see those fake... I didn't realize I'd seen AZZMADOR's TKR official on Telegram, a bunch of fake videos, purportedly from the media, and I think it actually is. I think AZZMADOR is back on the line, but before I get back to him, let me show, let's see if I have this clip. Clip 11, Chris, from Dr. Eli David. He actually showed the video footage and said Israel's Channel 13 News reports on the war in Ukraine, showing this footage that I'm about to show you. Just one slight problem. The footage is from a Star Wars movie. He says, trust the media. And so watch this video. It'll show some real footage, and then it'll show Star Wars footage. And you'll see like a TIE fighter, one of those Star Wars spaceship things with the Empire guys standing next to it, with somebody playing a joke on us. And I think it's a real mess, fake thing. Watch this video, and you'll hear them speaking in like Hebrew or whatever language that Israel talks. Listen to this.
ו4 קילומטרים מתקרבת לקייב, ובארצות הברית מזהירים כי מדובר בנחיל מכריע שיפרוץ לבירה תוך 3 ימים. שיחות השלום החלו אתמול בבלרוס, אבל ההסכמות כלשהן עדיין נראות רחוקות. באוקראינה טוענים כי רוסיה
Why? So that's their B-roll. That's their B-roll. What a mess. Nick J. Fuentes said he supports Russian denazification of the illegitimate state of Ukraine, by the way. He's the guy who spoke at AFPAC, and he got the people chanting Putin. So anyway, let me get back to AZZMADOR. Give it another try here. AZZMADOR, are you there?
Oh, yes. Hopefully I will remain
Yeah.
to the conclusion of the call. I don't know where I cut off. I think I kept talking for a while before I realized we were disconnected. But my point is, Putin is doing what any responsible leader of a country is doing or would do by keeping nuclear forces away. You know, and ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, the West, the United States, and NATO have tried to do 2 things to destabilize that region. They have been working to get Ukraine to join NATO, which would make Russia have a military enemy right on their border, and they have been working to bring Ukraine into the European Union, which would take them out of the monetary and business alliances that they have with Russia and put them on, in with the West. And you can see why Putin and the Russians don't want this. And the other thing, as far as who is behaving in an evil way, I showed video on my last show that was taken by Ukrainians in a car that were fleeing the country. So apparently they live close to the border. And Zelensky, who has said that no male between the age of, I believe he said 18 and 60 or something like that, is allowed to leave the country. He has the members of the Azov battalion, the ones who haven't fled yet, on the highway, stopping cars, and the video showed them pulling a young couple, a man and a woman, out of the car and shooting them in the head. They were doing this. They had a whole line of cars, and the reason the video got out is the guy who was filming it did the right thing and just pressed on the gas and drove around it. And you could hear him shooting at him and everything. And this is going on like crazy. And it's not, none of the real stuff is being reported in the media. We keep getting all this stupid Ghost of Kiev and that. And one other thing, really important point I think to make, it is insane the way everybody in the West is cheering on this Zelensky handing out automatic weapons and small infantry weapons, grenades and all kinds of stuff like that to civilians, telling them that they're going to fight Russia. This is a major violation of the Geneva Conventions. Under the Geneva Conventions, there are only 2 classes of people who fight with no uniform on, and it's illegal in both instances. They're either partisans or they are spies. And under the law of the Geneva Convention, anyone captured doing that is legally subject to summary field execution on the spot. So he's going to be getting these people killed by having civilians fight trained military, and then the ones that get caught, and I don't know if the Russians will actually do it, but they can just execute them on the spot. And also, there are people in Ukraine who are blogging about this, that the people who are benefiting from this, that are running and getting all the weapons, are criminals, organized crime, and that whether or not they fight the Russians, it's going to be hell on the good citizens of Ukraine when this is all over because of the way these people have been armed. And one last point, Zelensky is a fellow Ukrainian. He is not an ethnic Ukrainian.
Right.
He is Jewish.
Yeah.
And he has said that no man between the age of 18 and 60 can leave the country, but there's one big exception. He is helping these groups, these Israeli NGO groups, move all the Jews out of Ukraine. They're busing them over into Moldova to fly them to Israel. Now,
including fighting age males?
Yes. And I find this, there's a lot of video of it. And Tucker had this one guy, I can't remember his last name. His first name was Shlomo, and he had this guy on his show, and he's sitting in the bus and talking about, oh, yeah, it's horrible. We got to get our people out of here. And you know, the propaganda is just crazy. There's a tweet from StopAntisemitism.org that's making the rounds. It's just insane. It says, 30,000 of this many people died at Baba Yar, and the Russians blew up the Baba Yar Holocaust Memorial with a missile. Putin has killed them all over again.
Right.
I mean, this is the kind of propaganda that's coming out of there.
It sounds like the blacks.
Yeah. It's just crazy, and it's all emotional stuff. Everything that you see is emotional, and it's stuff that we've seen before. Like, I was watching Hannity, and they showed in this heartbreaking video. I feel so sorry for the child and her mother, but they showed this ambulance, and there's about a 10-year-old girl, and she's had some kind of bad trauma wound to her neck area, and she's bleeding, and they're dragging her into the emergency room, and the doctors are all crying, and they're trying to resuscitate her and everything, and she dies. And they're saying, look, this is proof that the Russians are killing children. It's not proof of any kind. It's proof that something horrible happened to a child and they died. It's just like when they dragged us into Desert Storm, they claimed that the Kuwaitis were pulling babies out of incubators and slamming their heads, or the Iraqis were pulling Kuwaiti babies out and slamming their heads, and that all turned out to be false. But the same people who dragged us into Desert Storm, and then who dragged us into the 20-year cursed war with all this talk about WMDs and all this other stuff, the same people who have turned our society as much as they possibly could into a totalitarian technocracy with all of us locked down for COVID and everything, and the same people who tell you that if you're worried about your border and you're worried about, whether white people are going to become a minority in their own country and all that you're a white nationalist, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, horrible person. These are the people who are pushing this. Yeah. And, you can judge a man by his enemies, I've heard. And at this point, I would say that just on that basis alone, Putin seems like the good guy in this.
Yeah. Wow, AZZMADOR, I appreciate the information. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking my call, James.
All right, take care. Let me tell you a little bit more before I get to, coming to the top of the hour. I got to get to Denny in Bulgaria and the rest of the callers. There's one line open, guys. But what do people even know? Why are they caught up? I saw this tweet from this guy who calls himself Lafayette Lee on Twitter. He said, everywhere I go, someone is talking about Ukraine. Young, old, rich, poor, educated and uneducated. It's on everybody's lips. And most strangely, the observations are indistinguishable from one to the next. With the exception of 9/11, I've never seen anything like this. Some Americans, he goes on, are deeply invested because they have family and friends in Ukraine, and some are terrified of nuclear war and have little faith in our leaders. But many more who have no ties to the region or the slightest grasp of geopolitics and war are just completely captivated by this. And that's why you see all that, the same hype around Ukraine, supporting Ukraine, is the same hype supporting the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. People are thinking I'm silly for talking about how the blacks are playing victim. Remember that video that I played just like last week from that supposedly white mother of that light-skinned mixed-race black kid? I call him a kid. He was 20 years old, who resisted arrest and got himself shot by accident from the woman, Kim Potter, who said, taser, 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 blam. Oops, killed him. Oh, because she only got sentenced to 2 years. Oh, today, the court has the messed up racist justice system over white woman tears, fake white woman tears, calling Kim Potter fake when she's fake, when the mother's fake, has killed my son all over again, murdered my son all over again, accusing Kim Potter of murdering her son, and then Kim Potter getting a light sentence. for an accidental discharge, thinking she was firing the taser. Oh, killed my son all over again. Reminds me of the situation. And I saw that tweet from the Stand Against Anti-Semitism Twitter account, whatever it was, that said, oh, destroying the memorial is killing that 30 million or 30,000 Jews all over again. Crazy. Just a bunch of hype. Meanwhile, there is some real stuff going on. Michael Malice tweeted. Michael Malice, this Jewish guy who's Russian, I think, came to America, has come on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Fallen State more recently. He tweeted, my dad has business in Ukraine. He just got out. Apparently, Michael Malice's dad is over 60. Michael Malice is getting up there. He's like my age, plus or minus, maybe older than me. He just got out. He had to sit next to an escaping kid who kept crying. Not incorrectly, they're going to kill my dad. I thank God every day that my family got out of the Soviet Union and hope for the peace and safety of everyone there now. By the way, he said, Putin is sending tanks into Ukraine, but the corporate press feels the need to compare him to Hitler and not Stalin because the Disney version of history permeates media is Hitler was the only dictator to ever exist. And interestingly, he may not be such the thug or the bad guy that the mainstream politicians, Republicans and Democrats, are claiming. It's war. It's rough. So brutal. So crazy. Let's see. We are coming to the top of the hour, guys. There's one line open. Oh, let me just quickly get to Denny in Bulgaria. Let him get on here. Denny, how are you doing?
Hello, Mr. Hake. I hope you're doing well.
Doing well, thank you.
I was calling because you and JOP often talk about the bad state that universities and academias are. And I want to inform you that it's worldwide. This is bad everywhere.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
I had a discussion with a young man who literally got out of high school a couple of months ago, during May, I think, last year. I asked him, what are you going to do after you're done with high school? He said, I have no idea, but I'll go to whichever university just to get a diploma because my parents told me so. And I was shocked. I honestly couldn't believe what I was hearing because not that I am against universities or colleges, of course I'm not, but there are people born with talents, and it's ridiculous to go to universities and to lose their time and money. Well, universities aren't really expensive in Europe, but for a young man to lose 5 or 6 years from their lives is basically ridiculous. And I can't believe this is happening. It's still going on. But I've noticed also that people start to wake up and to understand how utterly ridiculous this is. And it's a remarkable thing to see. And I really wanted to share this with you because time is basically the only resource we can't get back for a lot of reasons. But it's just sad to see that a lot of young, talented, strong people, because, everybody have their own talent.
Right.
And just go to university or a college without knowing why they're there, just because they were told to be there.
Right.
And not just believe it's wrong. And I really want to thank you and the people on your network and Jesse for keep spreading those good messages. And God be with you.
I appreciate it, Denny. It's good to hear from you, man. I'm not surprised to hear how bad the colleges are. Take care. Oops. My bad. Thank you, Denny. Appreciate you, man. We are close to the top of the hour here, guys. I'm going to get to more of your calls. I want to talk about the State of the Union mess in the coming hour here. But first, listen to, if you dare, more Anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've been playing this Christian noise artist, Jason Kaufman. Is it Christian noise? I don't know. But he performed at Cornerstone Music Festival, and that's purportedly a Christian music festival. I've been there multiple times in Illinois. This track is entitled Restless Dreams, and it's from the 2003 compilation. He had like 3 songs on this comp. Hollydrift had some, I think, and others. Describing Paranoia is the name of the track. And I think it's from that same Parasomnic Records, if I'm not mistaken. Restless Dreams by Anaphylaxis. Enjoy, you musical Philistines. Cover your ears, press mute, or grin and bear it. Here we go, and I'll be right back for hour 2. Hang tight. Isn't this nice, guys? Maybe it's not. How you guys doing? Are you grinning and bearing it? Or do you have mute on? It's not Christian at all. Anaphylaxis. Into hell we go. I like Hake's music. Thank you, Karen Williams. Slightly disturbing. This is Restless Dreams by Anaphylaxis. This sounds like the intro to The Mob Rules. Sounds just like Hollydrift. Whoa. Mr. Hake music. Hake trying to kill the ego through endurance with this stuff. Death by car. Mute, says JJ Money.
Now we can be together.
That's Anaphylaxis, guys. Fake crazy guy music. This is the sound of racism. Thank you for bearing with me through that. Hope you are, what is that word? Creepy movie music. Hope you are built up, edified by that. You know, let me quickly, before I get into this State of the Union thing, State of the Union, you wouldn't believe the evil things that are being done to people in this country. It's ridiculous. You need help, James. Let me get to, we're not united, and Biden doesn't want unity. Tony from California. Tony, how are you doing? What's up?
How you doing, Mr. Hank?
Doing fine, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I was calling and trying to understand. White folks always say they love this country, but the thing I can't understand is, and you're always saying that America first, but why are white folks going around trying to destroy the electrical substations, shooting at them and trying to destroy them and put us in a blackout? Why is that, Mr. Hank?
Go ask those whites who are doing that. I hadn't even heard of that. You may be giving me fake news. Probably so. Probably so, because there's a whole lot of white people in this country, and not all of them are America first. But I appreciate it, Tony. Nice to hear from you.
Well, the thing is, sir, is they part of your group?
Nope.
I mean,
you're the one who brought it up. You know so much about it. Are they a part of your group?
Are
they a part of your group, Tony?
I don't have a group, sir.
Yeah, you do. Oh, yeah, you do.
I don't deal with white nationalist groups.
Yeah, you do. You're part of the children of Satan. You're part of Satan's children.
Well, we're all part of that, my friend. If you believe that what you believe,
so you admit that you're part of Satan's group. You're on Satan's team.
You and Justice.
So you admit that you're on Satan's team, Tony?
Excuse me?
You admit that you're on Satan's team, huh?
I don't admit nothing, sir.
Oh, you just did. You just said we're all part of that group.
Well, we are.
Who's we, Tony? You and all the demons inside of you?
And you're still doing something wrong.
Who's we, Tony?
I'm just saying.
Tony, who's we?
Part of this. You, Jesse.
So I'm with you? Are you calling me your brother?
You are my brother. You got blood in your body, don't you?
Doesn't mean that I should be part of the children of Satan. AZZMADOR has a super chat.
Every day you get on this radio or on YouTube, you report nothing but Satanism.
And you listen to it. Huh, interesting. AZZMADOR states with the super chat, Tony, that is Antifa. Hold on, Tony. That is Antifa. I put in Tony on hold because he can't shut up and listen. He's like, oh, that's not Antifa. He doesn't know anything. This is Antifa doing that. I have covered Antifa members being convicted of attempting to spike trains and had plans to blow up transformers in Washington State. That's right. There was an Antifa guy, 70-something years old, I think, who got himself killed trying to break open like some holding cell for illegal aliens up in somewhere or something. I remember an illegal got himself killed doing that. He tried to set off a bomb. He might have blown himself up, but I think he got himself killed. So Tony, that's Antifa doing stuff like that. Antifa are not normal America. Antifa don't even believe in America.
These were young boys in their 20s from Wisconsin, Ohio.
Tony.
They were from not Washington, okay? So tell the truth. Report the truth.
Antifa is all over the country, if you're not aware of that.
Well, it's not.
Antifa are not America first, Tony. Tony.
They don't call themselves lights out and proud. What they call them? Proud American? No, proud convoy. Yeah.
The Freedom Convoy. The Freedom Convoy is not doing that.
Well, hey, look up those 3 white boys that just got arrested by the
You don't tell me what to do, Tony. I'm the boss of this show. I'm the master.
Don't get offended when I tell you the truth, my friend.
You don't tell the truth. Every time you call in, you lie.
All you got to do is look up an FBI report.
Every time you call in, you lie.
Okay, see, now you want to make it a lie, but you know it's the truth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You always
call in with mess. You call in with mess.
To destroy America.
Tony, you don't even care about America.
You did it.
I'm putting Tony on hold. Be quiet, Tony, and move out of my recliner. This is Butch. Isn't that nice? Peace and quiet. Hey, Tony, you were on hold just now.
Okay, well, put me on hold. You always want to put the truth on
hold. Taking care of businesses, Tony, just admit it. You don't own businesses in different states. You are contracted by the white man to drive his load somewhere. Is that true?
Excuse me? I'm not contracted nothing. This is what I do for my living. We all doing something. You contracted for JLP, right? You all group is just like JLP. You all wear the same.
I'm not the one who. I'm not the one who pretended to have my own business.
Like
AZZMADOR states to Tony with another super chat. Tony doesn't understand that America is not the same thing as the oppressive government that has shredded our Constitution and hates the founding stock of the country.
No, America is with the 3 Ks at the end. And AZZMADOR is one of them leaders.
Ooh, sick burn, Tony. All right. Nice talking with you, man.
Come to ride on this.
All right, bye.
But the thing is, hey, didn't you enjoy the President State of the Union address? Wasn't it beautiful? I
No.
see the Republicans and everybody was
You fell for that? You fell for that? You fell for phony Joe Biden?
I don't fall for nothing.
Yeah,
sir.
you did.
I don't
You called
fall
it
for
beautiful.
nothing. No, I said it was a beautiful speech. That's what I said.
You fell. No, it wasn't. It was not beautiful.
And why are you on Putin? Why y'all lying with Putin? Do y'all hate America that much?
No, we love America. That's why we love America. We love America. We love Christians. We love white people.
Of America. Y'all did the same thing.
Treason is what Biden does.
And during the Civil War.
Tony,
Y'all did the same thing during the Civil War.
Tony.
Yes.
Treason is what Biden does. Biden.
Excuse me?
Treason is what Biden does. Biden wants. I'm putting him on hold. Biden wants the white Americans, the native white Americans of the country, to be an absolute minority. Did you hear that on in Manhood Hour, the beginning of Manhood Hour? An absolute minority, and that's a source of our strength. Diversity is a source of our strength. That's a betrayal of America. Tony, you're ridiculous.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Mr. Hake. It ain't got nothing to do with y'all being minorities of America. Y'all doing that on your own. And God is
No, that's not true. That's a lie. You're lying, Tony.
Y'all not having babies.
You're lying.
Babies. Y'all falling off that.
That part's true. We all talk about that all the time. And we also talk about, Tony won't shut up. We also talk about the mass immigration into the country and the pushing of the subverting of the morals of our country that Tony supports by way of supporting Democrats. Anyway, Tony, I gotta go.
Just one last thing.
No, gotta go. Nice talking with you, man. Guys, before I get back to calls, Dan in Wisconsin wants to talk about some mess going on. But first, I gotta get to finally the State of the Union. Oh my gosh, Joe Biden talking about this place is sacred. And he's speaking inside, was it inside the Capitol building? This place is sacred. Oh gosh, please. And you're defiling it. Sleazy Joe. Did you know that black female is going to replace a girl on the Supreme Court? That black female Sleazy Joe nominee for the so-called Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown Jackson, born Brown, married Jackson, I guess. She wanted to keep that maiden name there. Ketanji Brown Jackson is going to replace a girl. Am I wrong for calling him a girl? Stephen Breyer, right? Is that his name? So-called Justice Breyer? Oh my gosh, I did not know that this guy was so effeminate. Show these pictures of this guy. He's just like holding his chest, holding his face. He's just flattered pink. Not a Christian, by the way, Justice Breyer. He's approaching 80, I want to say he's in his late 70s. And he's retiring. And he's like, oh no, don't. You flatter me. You're too much, sleepy Joe Biden. Look at this video footage. Let's see. 12B. Skip to 12B, clip 12B. Here is Sleepy Joe. I didn't know that this guy was purportedly like an army veteran. And he's acting like a girl? He's like with his floppy hands, like waving Joe Biden off. And he's all flattered that Joe Biden is saying facts about his life. Listen to this and watch if you can. Audio podcast listeners, I'll explain what's going on.
Justice Breyer, an Army veteran, constitutional scholar, retiring Justice of the United States Supreme Court. Justice Breyer, thank you for your service. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
He's bowing and nodding like an Asian.
Get up, stand up.
Thank you. Holding his heart.
Thank you.
He barely stands up a little bit.
We all know, no matter what your ideology, we all know one of the most serious.
That is. No. What are you saying, Tim Scott? Tim Scott in the chat. Dang, James, I like you, but you don't need to stoop so low. You're better than the emasculation. It's an insult to women to call him a woman, Hake. I had no idea. This was shocking to me that he was like this, but it makes sense that he's a liberal. Because liberals are effeminate, female-minded. And the person replacing him is even worse. But I had no idea. It was shocking to me. I'm not trying to stoop low. He's actually having a heart attack, says Stingray. You disagree with me? Did you know that he was like this, Tim Scott? I had no idea that he had those type of gestures. And I have other pictures of him from, let's see, inside the State of the SOTU Biden folder. SOTU 5 and 6. He's all just enamored with Biden. What is that? That power? People called it humble bragging. He's just, somebody said humble brag gesticulating. What's gesticulating? I hope it's not something dirty. Gesticulating. A gesture, especially a dramatic one, used instead of speaking or to emphasize one's words. Yeah, I was watching State of the Union, the tail end of it, on Anthony Brian Logan's channel. He was streaming it. Shout out to ABL. Anthony Brian Logan. Look at him. These are like cartoon characters. And Sleepy Joe, by the way, show some of those other photos. There's like, you can just kind of slideshow through these. Mark Milley, the guy who's like, I want to understand white rage. He's one of the secretaries in the defense, or Joint Chiefs of Staff or something like that. Secretary of Joint Chiefs of Staff. This gray-haired turncoat. I think he was under Trump, too. All fat, part of the member of the military. There's James Brown sitting next, female James Brown. Sorry, James Brown. Rest in peace. I'm blanking on this woman's name, but she's evil. Maxine Waters. With her fake smile and painted on, is there any other kind of painted on? Is there any other kind of lipstick? Painted on lipstick on a pig and a big wig. The wig looks nice. And the smile looks nice from far away, but that red lipstick is like kind of garish. And then this woman, I don't know who this is, short-haired, purportedly white woman, I don't know, probably not Christian, waving a Ukraine flag. I thought this was America. State of the Union, destroying America, falling all over themselves, gushing over Ukraine. Pathetic. And she's wearing a Ukraine flag-colored tassel or something. And this woman, Bobby in Texas said that he heard from a friend of his that she did a good job knocking down the points of Joe Biden. Kim Reynolds, the so-called governor, a female governor, Republican of Iowa, supposedly debunking, and I haven't seen the speech. I don't even know if I want to. It's probably intellectual points. Oh, yes, Joe Biden is lying for this and this reason. Joe Biden is a fake, and so are most of the Republicans. So wrong. Lauren Boebert was shouting. I heard that Lauren Boebert, am I wrong for going after Stephen Breyer? Man up. But anyway, I heard that Lauren Boebert shouted during the State of the Union to say that 13 people had died in Afghanistan. Yeah, because Joe Biden's mentioning the veterans, how he wants to help the veterans who are harmed by toxic burn pits. And of course, sleepy Joe Biden, as always, brings up his dead son. His son who died of like brain cancer at a young age in his early or mid-40s, leaving behind a widow, a young widow, and some kids, I think. Not Hunter, but the other one. So Boebert heckles during a nod to vets, but she was speaking out for the 13 dead Americans in the botched and mess of a Afghanistan withdrawal, right? I don't think that would have happened under Trump. You know who else spoke? You know who else gave a State of the Union response? Rashida Tlaib. Can you show this picture of Rashida Tlaib? They whitened her skin so much, she looks like when they whitened Barack Obama. Oh my gosh. Rashida Tlaib is a Palestinian brown woman who is a Democrat. She's a member of what they call the squad of Satan's daughters. She's the one who said, we're going to impeach the MFer, cussing in front of her child about impeaching Trump. Before she's even elected, she has no clue about anything. And she gave a response to the State of the Union, but from the left, meaning she wants Biden to destroy America even faster than he's already doing it, as if that's even possible. Maybe it is. Crazy, huh? Nancy Pelosi was acting all weird. She's the so-called Speaker of the House, a female, sitting behind Joe Biden right next to cackling Kamala Harris. Bunch of phonies. It's ridiculous. A mockery. America has become a mockery. This phony virus hype, President Biden stated, before I get to calls, let me just make a few points about the actual substance of what was stated. Not that there was any, but POTUS on Twitter, Sleepy Joe, he was quoted as saying in this speech, I guess, let's stop looking at COVID, that's a China virus, as a partisan dividing line and see it for what it is, a god-awful disease. Oh yeah, you believe in God. Give me a break. Let's stop seeing each other as enemies and start seeing each other for who we really are, fellow Americans. Okay, Sleazy Joe, you just smeared white people. White supremacists are the biggest threat in our country, with their veins bulging and their fangs out, their racist fangs. He's smearing the people who participated in the Unite the Right rally, the American patriots, who don't like the tearing down of our American heroes and Confederate American heroes. What a mess, huh? But in contrast, remember Biden said to the unvaccinated, our patience is wearing thin. Biden delivered a blunt message just like a month ago to the 25% of Americans who have not yet been vaxxed against the China virus. Ridiculous. Biden also said about what they call big tech, right? The establishment social media companies that are all helped him get elected over Trump. They wanted to oust Trump, the establishment social media companies, the commie capitalist, so-called American, anti-American corporations, Facebook, Google. Somebody was quoted as saying, we can't let 2016 happen again. Somebody actually, I think, said that. Biden said, now more than ever, it's vital for leaders to strengthen our domestic tech industry and the global edge it provides our society. We simply can't afford to subject America's security, economy, and values to foreign powers. And they had that evil woman, Frances Haugen. Is that how you pronounce her name? Frances Haugen. She was there as a special guest of the so-called First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, for the State of the Union. And she tweeted mess about, we're not for censorship. We're for protecting children. Yes, you are for censorship, you lying woman. Give me a break. She was touted as a whistleblower on the social media. The real problem with the social media isn't just that it's bad for kids, it's that it's not for actual free speech. It's anti-American. It's anti-white, anti-men, anti-Christian. Pro-BLM, pro-LGBTIQ madness, pro-Biden, anti-Trump, pro-Democrat anyway. Pro-everything evil. And did you know this? This is a funny side note. Mark Zuckerberg, according to Matthew Stoller, who's a blue checkmark on Twitter, very reliable source, I assume, he said, just a reminder, Mark Zuckerberg, he's the founder of Facebook, right? Or at least he hijacked Facebook and made it his own. I don't know what the real story is. But right on Mark Zuckerberg for that. But then he once went and asked Xi Jinping, the Chinese so-called leader, to name his child as a means to try to get Facebook into China. Mark Zuckerberg asked Xi Jinping to name his child. That doesn't sound very Christian. I guess Mark Zuckerberg is not a Christian. No, I don't guess. I know Mark Zuckerberg is not a Christian, right? But isn't your first name supposed to be your Christian name? And he wanted Xi Jinping to give him a Chinese name, a Chi-Com name for business to get Facebook into China. According to Matthew Stoller, that really happened. Crazy. Crazy. Taking care of business asks me, guys, has Modern Day Debate invited you back? Yes, he has. James Kuntz over at Modern Day Debate has invited me back on Modern Day Debate. I should be debating, I think, this Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, this coming Saturday on Modern Day Debate. And I do believe that I will be on Hippy Dippy Roundtable this Friday. Just a side note, guys, Hippy Dippy Roundtable. That's on Dylan Burns TV, Twitch, live on Twitch. And he'll upload it probably the next day or so on YouTube, Dylan Burns TV YouTube channel. But if you want to watch it live, you got to catch it on Twitch, I think. Hippy Dippy Roundtable. I assume we'll talk about the State of the Union address and maybe Ukraine, Russia. I assume. We'll see. We'll see if that pans out, but I was invited, confirmed. Modern Day Debate invited me on to debate against Brenton Langle again. Brenton Langle on the War on Men. That's this Saturday. So look out for that. I'll be putting the information up as I get it on thehakereport.com/appearances. And some more super chats, guys. From John WX15. I requested my senators ask Supreme Court nominee if she'll recuse herself from discrimination cases since she was nominated based on race. Stay tuned. Very nice, John WX15. Bibby McRibby 42 just wanted to wish a happy Women's History Month to Big Mama Tony. Toni, Tony from California. Rock on with yo bad self, Tony from California, IA. Interesting. Very interesting. AZZMADOR states with the super chat regarding what Tony claimed, because Tony's all, oh, it's y'all's fault that you aren't having tons of babies and you're becoming a minority. You got to have more babies. Tony doesn't care about decency. Whether or not we're having loads of babies, AZZMADOR states on Odyssey, we don't need more people. Does Tony look around when he's driving on the freeway and think to himself, there's just not enough cars on the road? I know. Blacks have been surpassed by the Hispanics as well. AZZMADOR states with the super chat, Tony doesn't understand that America is not the same thing as the oppressive government, oh, I read this already, that has shredded our Constitution and hates the founding stock of the country. Well, yeah, very true. He proved that there with his call. I appreciate you hanging in there, callers. You can call in 888-775-3773. Let me get to Merle in Michigan. How are you doing, Merle?
Hola.
Hey.
Sí, señor. ¿Dónde está mi tequila?
I don't know.
In tribute to Earl. May God rest his soul, we assume.
Yeah, do you think, I don't know what's happened to Earl. Earl, we haven't
heard from him. Yeah, I don't know how he
in
could just fall off the face of the earth, you know, having called you every day and complaining.
Yep.
Very entertainingly for, all that time. Was it over a year? Was it more than a year?
I think so.
More than 1 year? Wow. Yeah, well, people like Tony call in and, take his place with some entertaining ridiculousness that we all love. But I want to call in about this idea that America first is a bad statement. So we live in America. We're Americans. We want people to be elected who will put our country first. Should we say, let's say Germany first, or Italy first, or South Africa first, or Israel first? Shouldn't we care more about America than other places? And the guys that we put in there are going to take care of America, we hope? Isn't that what we're after?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, why is this seen as a bad thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
No. I only want Americans, especially the politicians that represent us supposedly, to put America first.
Yep.
Not some other country. Otherwise, it's treason.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's evil. Tony was trying to accuse us of treason for some reason. I don't even know what he was talking about.
Oh, because he just loves his illogical, his convoluted logic. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
One more thing. If you notice, during Biden, I wouldn't call him the president, Biden's speech last night, how he crossed party lines. The neocons, Republicans, RINOs and whatnot, and the leftist communist Democrats, they all love war. Like a sports ball game. Let's get this war going. That's fun. Yay, our team. And then who really benefits from it?
Yeah.
Probably not Americans. Some Americans, a few Americans, billionaires.
So-called, anti-American Americans.
And, those who, our debt-based economy probably resolves a lot of debt, for us to fight wars for some causes that don't benefit us.
Yeah.
It caused the whole entire world to go up in flames, like World War III, Armageddon. So that's one thing that the neocons and the communists have in common. They love a good war. It's on. It's the Super Bowl. They love it. Yay, our team.
The media seems to like it too. They get the flashiest images they can find, and they don't even seem to care if those images and footage turns out to be from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, that's who. Just like they can hype people up for a Super Bowl, they can hype people up for a war. That's what the purpose of the propaganda machine is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Well, I appreciate it, Merle.
Okay, Hake. Love your show, man. Peace.
Thank you. Take care. Let me quickly get to Dan in Wisconsin. He wants to talk about this health mess. Dan, how are you doing?
Hey, Hake.
Hey.
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing fine, thank you.
Good. Hey, I saw this article and I had to give you a little tip and kind of wanted to talk about it.
All right.
So I'm not sure when this was released, but it was brought to my attention back in October. There was this big meeting called the Vaccine Credential Initiatives Coalition and Global Coalition. It was an online meeting.
Wow.
Right before Halloween. And this VCI, we'll just call it because, the forbidden word, you don't want to say it, and I don't want to get you flagged or anything. It's actually funded by Microsoft and Amazon and a bunch of other tech companies that, so-called technology and health, like you can mix the two, like, come on.
Yeah.
So this thing is just kind of creeping in the shadows, and no one's really talking about it, and it's just insane to me. So I figured I'd just kind of get on here and just tell you about it, and I can email it to you as well. They pulled a lot of sources, but one was like Politico. I've heard you kind of talk about not the best. But the source is CNN BC, and I couldn't find the date of when it came out. But so apparently, they're saying the government's not mandating this stuff, but it's coming from the private sectors. And I think that people need to get on the radar of who's sponsoring what, go into things like Open Secrets, and find out, where people are getting funded or who's getting paid. to do what, or to modify new legislations, or, make new legislations that allow this stuff. But according to the article, apparently a dozen states are already on board for this, for their own little digital passport, and you apparently get the jab and you get your unique QR code, and then, you use that for traveling into different places. I know a buddy of mine went to a show in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and he said they needed proof of, the jab. And so it's like, it is happening, and it's like they're backing us into a corner. I don't care, any of your listeners who got it. I mean, I really don't. It's your personal health decisions.
Right.
But if we're supporting this, we're making it harder for freedoms to exist, and they're not going to give it back.
Yeah.
And everyone's on their phone. And I don't even know if the mark of the beast is already here. I mean, I'm on my phone so much, I'm just like, man, I just need to get off the phone. I have a landline, just use that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I don't want to blab about it too much, but this is just insane to me that this flew under the radar and no one talks about it. And it's being sponsored. And there's even something, have you heard of the GAO, the U.S. Government Accountability Office?
Yeah, Government Accountability Office. I've heard of that.
Yeah, as I was researching people's names and things in that article, it got my attention. One guy who's the chief scientist there working with health things, like, what the? And he actually, guess where he came from? He came from the National Intelligence Agency. So now he's working with this so-called, keeping the government accountable. And who knows what foreign interests or money they're getting, or money from technology. I mean, it's just so insane how corrupt we are. It's like, I think people got to dig around and do the research, and you really got to pick the right people and get the rhinos out. I think there was a guy from Utah who used to be a governor. I think I've heard you talk about him. They pulled a quote from him at that little coalition meeting. What's his name? Mike Leavitt. You remember him?
Not off the top of my head.
I think he's a Bush one.
Mike Levin?
But apparently he's in the Senate now. Yeah, Mike Leavitt, I think.
Oh, Leavitt. Levin?
Yep.
U.S. Representative? Let me see.
I think it's Leavitt.
Oh, okay.
But so he's pushing it, and he's all about it, and, it's just kind of funny that the way the article, it kind of almost tries to troll people on the right. So, don't get mad if anyone finds it, but it's insane to me, and I thought you might be interested in that. By the way, can I email you that, or where do I send that to?
The Hake Report at gmail.com. Is it Leavitt or Leavitt? But it's spelled Leavitt. Mike Leavitt. Yeah. Former U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services under Bush, apparently. Bush the baby. Bush W. EPA, who was the EPA, too, under Bush prior to that. In the Governors Association, governor of Utah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, send that over to me, Dan. Very interesting.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Definitely.
One of the cool things that at AFPAC 3 with the great living hero, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, he said that he doesn't have a smartphone. He just uses a flip phone to this day. I don't know how he gets away with it, because didn't they get rid of 3G? Now they have to have 4G or something like that? Maybe. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. We'll take down those old ones, though, eventually.
Right.
The older towers.
He's almost 90 years old, and he's just kind of old school. JLP's kind of old school in certain ways, too. And it's good.
Oh, yeah, we don't really need them.
You don't want to be a slave to your cell phone. And I think a lot of us got to check ourselves. Nice, man. Appreciate it, Dan. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, just something to think of. Everyone's Ukraine. It's like there's other more important things they're trying to distract us for a reason. So,
fair point. They do try to get away with various ridiculous things. I was looking at how they're trying to subpoena some J6 people who, to me, they're no names. I've never heard their names before. I'm going to cover that later this hour if I can do it before I finish up. But thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. Good talking with you. Take care.
All right, you too. Let me just play a little bit more from this State of the Union address. This racist chant broke out This is clip 12A. This racist chant broke out amid the State of the Union address. Listen to this. So wrong. This is Joe Biden is talking. 12A? 12A, yeah.
Economists call this increasing the productive...
Racist. What is that, AFPAC? Racist. It's so funny. I'm conditioned to think racist anytime I hear, especially young men, especially young white men say, USA, USA, USA. But they were chanting it. But their cries were empty, of course, as ABL called it, a dog and pony show at the State of the Union address. This Indian guy, like Indian, I think he's Indian, I forget where he's from, who tried to run for governor of California. He's a Silicon Valley type. He's involved in the big tech thing, right? He tweeted out a thread, Chamath Palihapitiya. Chamath Palihapitiya. Hapitia, whatever. I covered this guy before, actually. Before the governor's race. During the recall to try to get the beta governor out. He said, ahead of the State of the Union address 2022, I want to reiterate what I've said for years. Energy independence has and will continue to be one of America's most crucial vulnerabilities. A real and urgent national security issue. And although he's a liberal, I think he's right about that. He's pushing for solar energy. But other people have pushed for getting back to our so-called fossil fuels because we have them aplenty. And we could drill and pipe and everything. But no, we don't want to do that. We're hamstringing for Greta Thunberg and A.O. Cortez and all the rest. Trump had us energy independent. Did he not? He had us drilling. He had us piping. The pipelines. He had us energy independent. And other people push, I hear like Scott Adams, who has appeared on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Fallen State as well, push for nuclear energy. Very potent. Much more so than solar. But very interesting statement. And I think that he's right. Biden hamstrung us. All for this phony climate hype. Globalist socialism. Redistribution of America's wealth to the poor countries by way of the UN and other sleazy climate hype propagandists. And this DC protest, has the trucker convoy gotten there yet? I hadn't heard anything about it for a while. I heard that it built up pretty big. I thought I heard that some of them were in Texas heading up. Jesse Kelly of DC, formerly of DC, said that he lived in DC, Washington, D.C. for a year. His house was 11 miles from the office. An hour to get home was not uncommon. Almost 2 hours if there was snow on the ground. And there was this picture of this oilfield _rando guy tweeted out a picture of a major traffic jam purportedly heading into D.C. or out of D.C. or in D.C., Washington, D.C. He's like, is this the trucker convoy or is this, you guys live like this? Major traffic in L.A. too. Truckers, it's not there in D.C. yet, says Angela. Truckers caved? No, I don't know if that's true. Some were advising to stay away from this thing, trucker convoy. Seems like a setup to taking care of business bear. AZZMADOR says about the USA chant. They're chanting about America, ka, ka, ka. Taking care of business says he has a bad feeling about it. Yeah, you know what? No evidence, just a feeling, like a Gen 6 type thing. Maybe so. Maybe so. Cernovich was saying the same thing. He's on Twitter. Center-left guy, but generally pro-America, I think. I follow him on Twitter. He's appeared on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, guest hosted for Jesse Lee years back. He's the one who did the Night for Freedom event where Jesse spoke some years back. And I met Jared Taylor for the first time over there. And then for the second time at AFPAC. Let me tell you about this January 6th persecution. On Twitter, I saw this from Jack Posobiec. He said, the Biden regime is now going after lawyers and activists for their political opposition. Our own government is doing this. And he quote tweeted the January 6th committee on Twitter. Blue check marks. In my mind, illegitimate committee. Because according to what I have heard, the rules of Congress say if you form a committee, you have to have Republicans selected by the House minority chair or whatever, not selected by the Speaker of the House, who's the Democrat majority chair, right? Speaker of the House, nervous Nancy Pelosi. She's been there forever. Under Obama, under Biden, under George W. Bush, I think. Ridiculous. Dinosaur woman. Looks like, according to Tucker Carlson, looks like that guy who turned white, who used to be black, and he's dead now. Rest in peace. Michael Jackson. What's up with these phony Democrat women turning into black legendary singers like James Brown or Michael Jackson? What a shame. But the January 6th committee on Twitter, run by Democrats and 2 anti-Trump rhinos, select committee subpoenas 6 individuals who promoted false claims that the 2020 election was fraudulent and participated in various actions based on those false claims. I'm sorry, I thought this was America. And they name these 6 people. And tell me if you know who these people are. Pray for them. Pray for all the January 6th persecuted patriots. Cleta Mitchell. C-L-E-T-A. Kenneth Chesebro. Chesebro. Christina Bobb, 2 B's at the end. B-O-B-B. Catherine Fries. F-R-I-E-S-S. Fries. Chesebro. C-H-E-S-E-B-R-O. Was Kenneth Chesebro. Catherine Fries, or Fries. Kurt Olson. Have you heard of any of these names? They're being persecuted and subpoenaed by this select committee, making hay out of nothing. Cheeseburger and fries. Philip Klein. K-L-I-N-E. Who's ever heard of these people? Do you guys know about them? But pray for them. They're being named and persecuted by the January 6th committee in order to persecute Trump and us, you know? Here's a follow-up tweet from this phony January 6th committee. The committee is seeking information about attempts to disrupt the certification of electoral votes. I'm sorry. That's what Democrats love to do, is disrupt. The protesters, all they ever do is disrupt, including government congressional activity or the Senate. Remember when the Senate confirmed that guy who likes beer? Brett Kavanaugh? The feminists disrupted Congress. Were they charged? No, but we have a whole committee charging these people. Ridiculous. About attempts to disrupt the certification of electoral votes and any efforts to corruptly change the outcome. Corruptly change the outcome. Not in these people's minds. These people wanted to change the outcome from what they felt was a corrupt outcome. Give me a break. And I am sympathetic to that view, by the way. The 6 individuals we've subpoenaed today have knowledge related to these matters. Give me a break. And so they put out this dumb press release. Select committee demands information from witnesses who promoted unsupported claims of election fraud. I wonder if the committee, well, they're not honest people, but have you ever looked into what Real Vincent James was putting out about things, shenanigans, statistical anomalies and things? Has anybody really addressed those concerns? If they have, I would like to know what Vincent James's response would be. Because he's pretty, he tries to be pretty honest. Quite honest. I told you about that guy who committed suicide. It was covered on the Jesse Lee Peterson show as well. Matthew Perna. Brandon Strzok, that former Democrat who started the Walk Away movement. He's had Jesse speak at events. He loves Jesse, even though Jesse doesn't agree with everything that he's about. He said, I don't know Matthew Perna, but haven't studied his case or accusations against him, but he's killed himself, and I understand why. I had the same thoughts many times this past year, Brandon Strzok says that he did. The deafening silence of Republicans and conservative media for people dragged through this hell is unbearable. Well, I wish the January 6th people well, the people who participated in these Stop the Steal rallies, because it is so evil, the attack on them. Be strong. Never commit suicide. Don't fall for that. You know, don't be a woman. It is Women's History Month, guys. I have to show this from you. I have to show this to you. Do I dare to show it? This is clip 13, not the Walmart one, clip 13 from today. What is a woman that I would like to play? I was looking at CNN Commie Nonsense Network, and they said, take a moment to enjoy this poetic montage of powerful women across the decades. And they open up with this question, what is a woman? And it shows this, is it wrong to say dykey-looking woman? Like a black lady, pretty black lady, glasses, short hair, but the short hair and then this bleached blonde part of her hair, not looking very like ladylike, you know? Just not very feminine. It's cute, I guess, but why would you tout that? And then they show Greta Thunberg, and then they show, who is it, Rosa Parks, and a bunch of other people, females. Watch this video or enjoy and listen. It plays some music, and I'll try to shout over it to see who I recognize. It has that tennis player woman, not LeBron James, Venus Williams or Serena Williams. I know Venus better. She was more at the forefront when I was in high school. But listen to this, enjoy, courtesy of Commie Nonsense Network and YouTube. What is a woman? Women's History Month commercial. Enjoy, or not. Grin and bear it. What is a woman?
Is a woman bold?
How dare you?
Is she courageous?
I was arrested on December 1st, 1955.
She's a fighter, risk taker,
Asian,
lawmaker.
Were always rationalized as favors to women.
Educator.
That's not a lawmaker.
Creator.
Anybody asked what I thought, I would write it.
You see a woman, she's a leader.
We, the people, have the power to build a better future.
She's a believer, high achiever.
Thank you for this award.
More a giver than a receiver. Woman of hope.
For there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it.
For the next generation to not be so cold. Women give love.
I've given it to everyone I know.
No, they don't.
I love this book.
Women give light. Women are the essence of life. Is she everything that we said she wasn't?
Who will have the power to shape our children for the next 4 or 8 years of their lives?
Or is she everything that she said she wanted? Just look in her soul. We can see her light shine. What is a woman?
Head rag. Wait, is that really a woman? Thank you, women. Hashtag Women's History Month. If you enjoyed this video, like and share with the hashtag, what is a woman? Turn on the AC, please. It is. I know we only have 5 minutes left, guys. Why are they showing all Transformers, says Super Dave. That's messed up, guy. I don't believe that they're all males. Really? Yes, open up the AC thing, please. Thank you. Gracias. Yeah. So wrong. She gives light. Yeah. Blech. Anyway, speaking of the transgenders, and I'm not calling any of those transgenders. I'm not with you on that, Super Dave, although I love you. The trans agenda in Texas. Did you hear about this? I mentioned it in Hake News at the end of hour 2, I think, of the Jesse Lee Peterson show. The Texas governor has been sued over a new transgender directive, according to the Morning Brew, far-left Morning Brew. A lawsuit claims Governor Greg Abbott, is investigating parents of so-called transgender adolescents for possible child abuse. Isn't that nice? If they support gender-affirming treatments for their kids. I doubt that this guy really is doing that. I doubt it, but he should. He totally should. Because you have to, especially these mothers, one plaintiff in this lawsuit against Greg Abbott, and I'm joking that calling him based, I wish him well, and I wish Texas well. Salute. One plaintiff in the lawsuit is an employee of Texas's, this is disgusting, Department of Family and Protective Services, who has a 16-year-old transgender child. She was placed on administrative leave. Oh my gosh, the AC feels good. She was placed on administrative leave, this employee of the Department of Family and Protective Services. Somebody protect the families from her. And investigators already came to her house, according to this lawsuit filing. They should. Parents shouldn't support that. You know, they say, oh, it's a parent's choice. No, it's not even a parent's choice. At that point, that's evil. I think that is child abuse. You know? So anyway, that's that. And you know what else? Irresponsible mothers. CNN, I mentioned this briefly in Hake News. 460,000, says Commie Nonsense Network. That's how many families, I put that in hard quotes, are estimated to be stranded without reliable child care. These so-called families are run by women, and they don't have reliable child care, exacerbating the nation's worker shortage as parents continue to stay home, according to a new report from economists at Wells Fargo. So I didn't read this, though, in Hake News, because I didn't have time. Sweeping federal funding for child care was proposed by Sleepy Joe, Sleazy Joe Biden, Snake in wolf in sheep's clothing, and included in the Build Back Better bill, passed by the House in November, currently stalled in the Senate, thanks to the great, is he great if any Democrat is great? If any present-day Democrat. The old-school Democrats, they're okay in my book. The great Joe Manchin, he's not for this phony Build Back Better bill, right? So wrong. They're trying to replace mothers and fathers with the government. Child care. And they've made, they've pushed for women to be working, and they've made it more expensive, this inflation and all that stuff. Printing money, making your money worthless, right? So you can barely buy a house. Build Back Better, 666. Yeah, that's right. So sick. By the way, there's a preliminary study that entering menopause before age 40 could be linked to 35% higher risk of developing dementia later in life, says the females at the skim. Could come down to estrogen. Hormone plummets when menopause hits, can add to the body's stress, yet to be published, to be presented at a conference, according to the far-left female-run outlet, The Skim. Yeah, they're doing it. The women are running themselves ragged, being all trying to be men. Pathetic. Lin Yen Chin with the super chat. Guys, I'm overtime. Lin Yen Chin with the super chat. Debate is still empty noise made to amuse the women and woman-minded, aka intellectuals. It never resolves anything, but always stimulates hate in the form of vanity, aka pride, with a side of guilt and shame about so-called victims. Well, I appreciate that, Lin Yenshin. And yeah, that's not something to get sucked into for sure. When you go into these so-called debates, just present the truth and stay with love. Thank you, guys. This has been the Hake Report. Catch the Bond Archive Sunday service later today, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, and take care.